So now it's just gonna kind of be miscellaneous interior. It's all like fit and finish stuff. So next project's here to finish this thing. I gotta do a little false wall there, a little cover to cover that up. And then I need to make a situation here to cover up this plumbing so it's protected when you're throwing stuff in and out of the closet. So that's gonna have to be done. I also want to, on all of the joints in the ceiling here, I just have them screwed in like this and it's no good. So I'm gonna take a thin board like they did on a lot of campers and just run that across here and screw that in as like a trim piece. We have the interior trim pieces that we got these strips of, they're just edges of 2x4s is what they are. And they're 1/2 inch thick and they're ripped down. We just had them as scraps actually. This is the last one. And it's really thin material, like I said, 1/2 inch. So I have lines offset about 1/2 inch so I could see exactly where I wanted it so it's centered. So I'm pre-drilling it with 1 bit and I change it out. I just don't want it to split, so I'm making it as preventing that as much as I can by pre-drilling it and countersinking it ahead of time. I'm using 2-inch number 8 screws and going throughout. But like, this is literally as tall as I am with my boots on. And when I walk over here this 1/2 inch, I do hit my head, but I gotta duck to walk in the door. So I gotta duck to walk in the door and duck around that, whatever. What are you gonna do? Once you're in this area, we got it. So this is gonna be an interior, just miscellaneous interior because it's where we're at. These are just little tie-down D-rings, and I'm gonna put them, you know, two right here towards the bottom, and then 2 down here towards the bottom, so that if I want to put like toolboxes or anything in the hallway here and tie it down during transport when we're moving, it'll be an additional place to store stuff and it's not just bouncing around smacking the walls and everything else. So these only have a 300-pound working limit, which is not much for the load, but yeah, we're not tying down crazy amounts of stuff. We are working on some more stuff, and part of the, whoa, about fell right off broke the steps there. Fix that. What we're looking at is trying to figure out how they previously did the window trim. And as you can see it here, it's some really high quality lumber that they used. Nice. But I'm just curious on the width, the size of it, and how much overlap they have, and I can actually see that. So, working on the window trim, and was looking for some lumber. The camper, the old grungy original camper that I'm designing after, used 1 7/16 wide, 1/2 inch thick trim around the windows. Well, these are what I'm going to use, which are old bed slats for the you know, instead of having a box spring, you'd use these wooden slats. So I saved them for some reason. Well, this is the reason. They're a little off, so I'm going to rip them down to 1.5 inch wide, and let's roll with it. Mount them on there so that the bare wood will be exposed. We can prime them and ready to go. We got the first 2 pieces up, the bottom and the top here. Just got to put the inner ones in. It's not going to look fancy here. the lipstick transfer here. So now we know where to blow the hole through. Making all sorts of progress here. Window trim is complete for the nook area with the hole drilled for the crank for the window. Window trim over here is complete, which is the rear of the dinette. That window trim is complete. And the kitchen window trim is complete. Got the dinette window trim completed. Now we're going to work on making some trim to make wood trim to make up this gap here and tighten this up, that extension ring on the electrical. We are going to do some trim. I got some trim here. It's just fern strips, scraps like that, like this. The sides that'll sneak in here like this and like that. So it's going to be a box, and we're going to clamp it all together with construction adhesive to lock it all into place. The construction adhesive has dried. We get to pop the clamps off. Very fun. Let's see if it holds. Oh yeah. On there. Next thing, we got to get the closet interior trim false walls in here to protect all the electrical and the plumbing. Here's the first wall here. This is going to go right in here like that. That's going to be the top portion. Got the trim pieces completed. I have that kind of wedged in there because it's kind of a pain to get in and out. But I had to build up the studs, if you want to call them that, a little bit out so that it would space this false wall out so that it was enough clearance for the switching and all the electrical. So there you go, there's the fit, and then I have it marked where the screws are going to go. For this side, this wall was the first wall that you saw, and then I put some little runners there to hold that in place. And I built this simple little wall here with scraps. It's kind of weak, but whatever, if it breaks you just build a new one. And then that's it. So that'll get screwed down the same way, and it'll be just like that. And you can still, I can still reach in here and access this valve to drain the valve. It's a valve to drain the shower valve. And to shut those off, you can still reach in there and just paint it up and sand it down a little bit so it's the smoother edges, and that'll be the end of it. It's ready. So it doesn't look the best, but it's a closet. All right, guys, it's a closet. The interior is coming along. Some of the trim for the outside corners of the interior trim here needs to be done. Right here, right here. The plan is to try and make it. I got a ton of this rough sawn oak. It's a mix of red and white oak. It was an industrial pallet that I broke down. I got this rough sawn that's not square in any way, and the plan is to use this new jig that I just built to try and cut straight strips out of this so that I can cut molding out of it. So let's get to it. Attempt of the first cut here. So now we have, this is 7/8 wide strip that should be parallel. These two faces should be parallel because I used the jig. So now we have to rip these two faces with, or one face with the jig, and get this thing to be a square as close as possible. So now after that second cut with the jig, in theory, this face and this face should be 90 degrees to each other, and I just have one more face to rip down, and in theory it should be square. So I just ripped it down to the actual 3/4 by 3/4. We got to actually cut out the trim portion of it. So there's the first cut. There you have it, folks. Outside corner trim, oak, ripped down from that board right back there. And it was free. Final dimensions are 3/4 by 3/4, and the thickness of each of these walls it's just under 3/16, but let's call it 3/16 for the wall thickness on each, which is a little thinner than what you can buy at the store. But this is a camper, and I didn't want it to look real gaudy on there with these big thick trims. So I think it's pretty stout because it's oak. This is sanded versus unsanded here. Oh yeah, by the way, I priced it out. I need 26 linear feet of this trim for the camper here, and that right now with the lumber prices is about $60 US, and that's kind of a lot just for trim. Oh, there's gonna break. Oh no. So you know, if all this time saves me 60 bucks, I think it's worth it. Plus I learned how to do it. And there you have it. 4 pieces, roughly 7 feet long, and then that little guy back there. Should be enough to do the project. If not, we got more. So we got the joining jig here. Gives you a better visual of how big it is. It's 8 feet long. And so yeah, so it worked. Now it's actually cut to size. A visual of it. This one, I got it sanded down to 220. So this right here is a test that I did of just the stain that is matching stain that's in the other countertops of the camper, and then this one is just the semi-gloss varnish, no stain, and they're pretty much the same. Like the stain didn't do much at all, so we're just skipping the stain and just going with the clear. Installation is complete. Just went with a kicker on this one.